Because I think the problem is you're talking to really, really rich people. And really, really rich people are doing really, really well under Donald Trump. But most small businesses aren't those really, really, really rich people. They're people, bluntly, who run auto repair businesses, have sign shops, have ice cream shops. And those are the folks that are being impacted. Maybe this will help a little in how I look at it, and maybe for you to think about it. Who pays tariffs?
Congressman, according to Harvard and the Richmond Fed, 80% of the tariffs are paid by the foreign countries where they originate. That's why the United States was on its heels for 50 years.
That would be like me saying, if you said, what color is my hair? I'd say I have long flowing red hair, right? Because it's complete BS, right? That's not true. Who pays tariffs are these small businesses who've been impacted, 42,600 on average last September, and then they pass the costs on to consumers. So before I sold my business, when Donald Trump started his tariffs last year, I started getting increases on aluminum sheets. I did engraving as one of the parts that I did. It's specialty printing. But I also got increases, by the way, on American-made walnut plaques, because they decided they could also make money while they're doing the increased costs on tariffs. They could pass on some other costs. So that's part of the fun of being a small business, not a really, really, really rich, big business. But when you're a small business, that's the kind of stuff you have to juggle. So I did see the impact in invoices. Every single day, I would see those coming in, and we paid those extra costs. Yard sign wires for politicians. We made political signs for folks. We saw the steel costs increase because of the tariff. So I'm just saying, for the average small business, there's been a big impact. And the fact that you're talking to businesses and not hearing this, I'll tell you, I just bluntly, not as even a member of Congress, as a guy who's a small business who ran a business-to-business venture, I heard it all the time, and I still hear it all the time. And I sit down and meet with my small businesses in my community. So what can I say to them when I say the SBA administrator says foreign countries are paying tariffs, you just are imagining it or you're lying? Because they're not imagining it and they're not lying.
Well, Congressman, with all due respect, I'm going to set aside the reductive comments you made about small business success, because every small business is a job. So you're
saying, you'll take my time back. You're saying a real small venture doesn't matter if the bankruptcies are 50%. You only care about big business? Is that the new policy of the SBA?
A collision
Unless Donald Trump and his sons can invest in, it's not something you care about? Is that what you're saying?
A collision repair company, you voted against the working family tax cut where that repairman, where that auto mechanic is not going to
please, if you want to go there, I need 5 more minutes.
They're not going to get expensive.
You have no clue. Give me 5 more minutes and I'll ask you questions about that.
Yeah, well,
I yield back.
This administration is fighting for the American worker.
Think about small business.
I just see the process does seem to favor, and these are not my words. I can quote you, Judge Eaton. I mean, that's what I wish to say this to you. If you could get to us a rundown of the refunds, who is getting those refunds, the amount of the refunds, and their category is a large business, small business, or whatever it is. Who are the companies getting the trade refunds so that you can dispel what is public knowledge about these efforts, which you don't seem to know about? So the process seems to favor large companies with in-house customs experts, outside trade counsel, while smaller businesses often lack the resources. I want to ask you, does the SBA share that concern? I'm afraid I'm going to get the same answer about the thriving small businesses. Have SBA conducted any assessment of whether small businesses are disproportionately struggling to access tariff refunds compared to larger firms? Are you doing an assessment of that? It's yes or no?
No, ma'am.
You're not doing an assessment of what's happening to small business.
What I see every day is
will you commit to working with CBP to provide this committee with a report identifying how many small businesses have successfully received refunds and what are the barriers that remain?
I will commit to continuing to advancing the interests of small business.
No, this is CBP to provide this committee with a report. Can you get us a report?
We're frequently asked to deliver reports. These reports are not wet. My staff will be happy to meet with your staff.
This committee needs a report of what's happening.
I can tell you what's happening on the ground with small businesses.
Oh, God, no, you can't. Small businesses do not have access to the same legal resources as Fortune 500 companies. Let me be clear, this isn't a question of whether or not someone supports or opposes tariffs. It's about ensuring that the small businesses that you represent and the manufacturers in Connecticut are treated fairly. fairly. Federal government owes them money. They shouldn't have to jump through hoops to get it back. It is that simple. Mr. Chairman, I requested a report. I hope the committee believes that we should get a report and understand what is happening with the tariff refunds for large businesses and small businesses. I yield back.
I stand by.
Have you received any directions from OMB at any time during the course of your administration at the SBA to not disperse funding that has been appropriated?
Well, we're working closely both internally and externally. So we work with OMB, we work with our internal political and career colleagues to ensure that the funds are going out as directed, as intended by Congress, and that they meet the law and that they meet the executive orders. And so we have continued to look at meeting all those objectives and making sure that the programs, I think small businesses would be interested to know that some of the programs that were lined up for funding were things like the Binational Institute for Human Development, which supports illegal aliens in Guatemala and Mexico.
Excuse me, Madam Administrator. I have limited time, and my question was pretty simple, which I don't think you've answered. And that is, have you been directed at any point in time since you have been the administrator of the SBA by OMB and Mr. Vogt, not necessarily him personally, but OMB, to not expend money that had been appropriated by Congress?
I have been directed to follow the law, and in doing so, I'm following the White House executive orders. I'm working internally, and we're making sure that everything that you have directed to get out gets out. But we are not going to blindly write blank checks like the last administration did to the Chinese Mutual Aid Society.
I know.
Got $4
Let
million
me reclaim my time because my time is short. You didn't answer the question. I didn't ask you whether you have done things that are prudent to do. I asked you, have you been directed by either Mr. Vogt directly or OMB not to expend funds that were appropriated by the Congress of the United States? Now, you're avoiding, that's an either yes or no question.
I think I've been very clear that we are following all requirements to get
No, that's not very clear.
Out. And I do not work directly on grant disbursements, and I'll be happy to have my team follow up with you to clarify. But all of the funding that we've committed to getting out, we are getting out. Let me be clear. The Biden administration did not get their money out.
Now, with all due respect, you're closing up cities around the country. Is that in terms of your reorganization to which the chairman referred? Is that accurate?
That's inaccurate.
Okay, what is accurate?
When I came in, we had 132 offices. I think people would be shocked to know that we had 132 offices, 29 of which had 0 or 1 employee in them.
Okay, are you closing offices?
Yes, we absolutely are.
Can you name me an office that you are closing that is in a blue city or blue district? One.
We don't classify them by blue cities.
Can you name one?
We are making several.
The president said
across
he
the country.
did consider the politics.
No, we're changing areas.
Can you name one, Madam Administrator?
I can name several. Yeah, I can tell you we have had to move out.
What are they?
Los Angeles, Portland, New York, Chicago, Atlanta.
No, that were closed. Can you name me one that is scheduled to be closed that is not in a blue district?
Yeah, I'm sure I can. I'll be happy to get that district or city. We don't target them by blue or red. We target
I understand,
them
but
by,
it would be.
Is there anyone working in that office? Let me give you we had an office for 4 years that had no employees working in it. We didn't even have access. We couldn't open it with the key.
Matter of fact, it was closed if you had no people working in it.
We were paying. The taxpayers were paying for it. The taxpayers are now saving $32 million.
Madam Administrator, with all due respect, I've asked you
I'm
two
here to advocate for
direct
small businesses
questions.
and saving them
You have
money
not
on taxes.
answered either one of them. That's regrettable. I will send you some questions in writing. I would hope you would answer them. Thank you very much.